Never miss an episode of the Final Furlong podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And now, here's your host, Emmet Kennedy.
You're very welcome to the show. We've got Adam Mills and Jamie Wrenn to break down what was a fascinating weekend's racing. There's a lot to talk about. This year's Fighting Fifth was supposed to be the moment the champion returns. Instead, it was déjà vu all over again, as for the third time in 4 starts, Constitution Hill fell on the floor at the second. The new line on the floor at that very same flight, 2 out, in the very same spot as well, which was really, really weird. And Golden Ace, for the second time in 8 months, the mare who keeps her head when all those around her are losing theirs and their ability to jump, does exactly that and picks up her second Grade 1 win, both of them in 2 Mile Open company. In the aftermath, we've got a new champion hurdle picture that's just more chaotic than ever. Lossiemouth is the favourite. She didn't even run at the weekend. The new line drifts, but arguably enhanced his credentials, or did he? Constitution Hill's future is probably the biggest question mark in racing. Let's get stuck into it. Barry Garrity used the phrase indecision when talking about Constitution Hill, saying he's now just mentally unsure of these hurdles. Do you think that's it, or is it something else, Adam Mills?
Indecision? I don't know. Is it indecision or ignorance? Because you kind of, any horse can fall. So once it could fall, twice is a coincidence, 3 times is a pattern. The exact same mistake where the front legs don't get high enough and he crashes into them. It's nothing to do with the padded hurdles. He's just, he just doesn't pick his front legs up, and it's kind of, it's getting a bit boring now. This sort of, we're talking about it all the time, but it's just, if he's been schooled, surely he spent the last 6 months being schooled endlessly to make sure he doesn't do this, and he does it the second hurdle when they're going no gallop. I don't know. I really don't. And it's kind of, it's getting to the stage now where it's sort of, it's becoming almost like, how many more times are we going to go through this whole charade? He's schooling wonderfully and it's all brilliant and I can't wait to run him. And then we actually turn up on the track and he doesn't complete. And it's sort of, it's getting now kind of, it's now 3 years in my book since he produced a top class performance. And it's kind of, he's a 9-year-old, this talk of, we're going to run him on the flat. What are you going to achieve with a horse this age on the flat at this stage? Come on, silly. I don't really know where they go. I'd assume they just plough on to Kempton and have another go, but it's kind of, that is what it is. What's a little bit more concerning is the new line, because I'd kind of thought, well, the Constitution Hill isn't back to his best. The new line should mop this up. I don't think he wants to be in front. I didn't like the way he nearly ran out down the back. He made jumping errors and then he's come down 2 out. He just looks like he wants to take a lead, which is how they rode him last year. They'll probably go back to those things. But it is kind of, I personally would be of the opinion Constitution Hill is gone. He certainly will never carry my money because I don't think you can trust him anymore.
It's a very emotive topic, Jamie Wrenn, and you see the reaction from people on social media today to Nicky Henderson announcing we're not retiring him. We're going to keep on going. And people are losing their minds over it. And look, I get it. People are very emotionally attached to Constitution Hill. He's been a wonderful racehorse, but he's a racehorse. And if they decide to keep racing him, that's their right. Humans don't always take well to retirement. A lot of racehorses don't either. So it must be incredibly frustrating. And you can see it on Nicky's face. The first interview he gave to ITV I thought was really good. The second one he gave to Sky Sports Racing, I think by that point, he'd probably become a little bit agitated by the amount of people coming up to him and saying, you should do this, you should do that. Nicky Henderson will forget more about racing than any of us will know. So when Adam Mills says, I don't know, that's the most honest answer you can give, because I have no idea what's going on with them, and clearly they don't either, because if they did, this wouldn't be happening anymore. But Einstein's definition of madness is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. So either you change the trip, or I'm sorry, apparently you're not allowed to criticize anybody. You might have to change the jockey. And I love Nico de Boinville. I'm more confident back in a Nico de Boinville ridden horse than I am some other jockeys. I think he's wonderful. But you can't keep doing the same thing. And he did get round to punches down under James Bowen. He's fallen under Nico. So it should be okay for us to ask that question. Nobody criticizes people in the media for saying that a player should be substituted or that they should be dropped from their team. We're just trying to figure out what's going on, and everyone cares deeply about the horse. What does Jamie Wrenn think?
Oh, he's done it again. Yeah.
It's over. It's over.
It's over. It's over. Look, de Boinville gets criticism. I know he's been around James Bowen. He got around with James Bowen last year, but he actually got slaughtered by Statement in that race and punched us down. James Bowen obviously got slaughtered for his ride on Jambon when he got beaten by Elder. What was his name, that horse? I can't remember.
Elixir de Nuts.
So you have to be careful, like who you're going to put on him. But look, it's always going to be Nico. Nico is going to be on him. But there's never going to be a change in jockey unless Nico gets injured. And then James Bowen will fall off him one day, and all of a sudden he gets the criticism. Do you know what I mean? Look, it's like exactly what.
But sorry. If somebody else does fall off him, then it proves categorically it's not the jockey's fault. Then that's undisputable. Then that it's undeniable that the horse is the problem. If confidence is a big thing in racing, right? And if I think it's entirely understandable that Nico, an incredibly confident person and a great guy to interview and a fantastic jockey, he's the most decorated jockey in the British weighing room. There's nobody has as many graded race victories as he does. So I'm not criticizing him. I'm simply saying Einstein's definition of madness is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. So either you run him in the Rickeel hurdle and you hope that the increase in trip gives him more time to settle and he jumps better and he carries a penalty and he goes on to win. Fantastic. Or you change the jockey. Or you just don't run him again. It's one or the other. Or you put cheek pieces on him. Put cheek pieces on him. Put a cross noseband on him.
If you have a theory as well, the times he's fallen have been left-handed. He's jumped around twice the last time. He's jumped around the Christmas hurdle, which he won, right-handed, and he goes right-handed and punches down. That could be a small theory. He might have to go the other way around, maybe. That's the first thing that came into my head, but he jumped well. I thought he jumped well enough. He jumped really well last year, the Christmas hurdle.
He jumped fine. He jumped great. Yeah. He pings the last. Jamie, he pings the last at Newcastle with nobody on his back.
Yeah. But then the only thing is you go back to international last year and Nico was very indecisive. You go to watch back. I know it was highlighted a lot by people on social media that he hands dropped, then pulled him, and he barely got through the middle of the hurdle at the last on the new track in the Unibet hurdle. So I don't know what's going on with him. The point I took the most was back because you're listening to a former undisputed great jockey in Barry Garrity, that he said it's very hard to get a horse to change his brain from indecisiveness to being one of the best jumpers of a hurdle for a long time, and supposed to be one of the all-time greats, but he's not waiting in now, unfortunately. But I think it's going back to him that when he was so far won the Supreme that year on record time, that everyone is expecting the same all the time, and it just doesn't happen. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't happen. It's like you're a human being running a sprint. I know Usain Bolt did it all the time, but we're humans, they're horses. Everyone's expecting that top class performance all the time, and he's been overhyped from that Supreme from day one. I think. Look, fantastic.
I'm not having that. I'm not having that. He destroyed State Man. He destroyed Zanahiyr. If you even wanted to make the argument, State Man wasn't himself that day. Okay, fair enough. That's
no, I'm not saying that. It's just people are expecting to be that far good from the day he won the Supreme. I know he won the Champion Hurdle easily. It's just people are expecting that massive performance.
Yeah. And
on everybody's lips, look, we all love champions and all that. But every day it's constitutional. There's other horses in training, like constitutional. Final demands of Kopek to Boards. Galopin de Champ had never got, I think personally, had never got he's brilliant horse. He's well talked about over in Ireland. But all you hear in your ears and social media and the terrestrial TV, constitutional. He's fallen 3 times, and we're still talking about him. So takes up.
You also can't be an all-time great if you haven't. Is he an all-time great if he hasn't won 2 champion hurdles?
No.
So that Racing Post list of the top 25 national hunt horses of all time of the last 25 years. Apologies, Racing Post. What a load of nonsense that was. Hurricane Fly wasn't on the list. What? the winning most Grade 1 performer in national hunt history. The only 2 horses in history have won 2 Grade 1s 4 times or more. Colorado Star, who obviously was on that list, and Hurricane Fly. Hurricane Fly won 4 Punchestown champion hurdles and 5 Irish champion hurdles, more than Isterbrack. He's only the second horse in history to regain his champion hurdle crown. And as Ruby Walsh said at the weekend, he was bomb-proof. He would gain ground at his hurdles. He was so slick.
But the first thing that comes out of people's mouths said he didn't act around Cheltenham, but he still won 2 champion hurdles.
Same as people said, Clodagh Star didn't act around Cheltenham. Yeah, all right, mate. Yeah, of course he didn't.
But all jokes aside, get back to the race. I think the new line, exactly what Em says, needs a lead.
Well, we'll deal with him in a second. Just with Constitution Hill. Like, is this it now? Like, I would genuinely love to see them run him in the Christmas Hurdle at Kempton. Just give it a go.
They're going to go for a Christmas Hurdle.
He's the only horse to ever win 3 Christmas Hurdles at Kempton. Give him the opportunity to win the 4th. Have Nico on him. Put a cross noseband on. Let's see.
I have a different theory as what I would try, which would require conkers of steel. I'd send him over a fence.
Oh, no way.
I'd send him over a fence.
Oh,
No.
You're
because
insane.
I
agree with Adam.
I'll tell you why he'd respect the fence more. And the reason he falls is his front legs. He's not falling because he's not getting high enough. He's not falling because his back legs are dragging through. He's falling because he's got no respect for the hurdles. And a couple of years ago, they floated this idea, and they were like, "Oh, he scored brilliantly over fences," and then they chickened out and went back to hurdling. But what have they got to lose now?
Champion hurdle winner. We haven't seen that done since Dawn Run. It wouldn't make any sense to go chasing.
It would make every bit of sense to go chasing because he's lost the respect for his hurdles. And I would at least school him again over a fence and see, because
Adam,
what have they got to lose?
Adam,
what have they got to lose? His reputation's in the bin.
His life.
He won't.
Nico de Boinville's physical well-being.
He won't fall. When he goes over, if he went over fences, I'd back him.
Because I think over a matchstick right now.
No, he won't, because you can't.
Back him all day if he went over a fence, yeah.
He will not leave his front legs in a fence because he won't get over it, and he won't be able to do that. What he's learned is that these hurdles, they're padded, they're soft. We all talk about them for the right reason. That what people complain about these hurdles, what they don't realise is this horse has fallen 3 times and hasn't picked up an injury. That's not a coincidence. That's why the padded hurdles are there, you idiots. But the point of having these hurdles is that he's got no respect for them because he's just like, well, whatever. If I hit this, sod it. Who cares? But, he won't do that with a fence.
That doesn't
Jump
make
him
sense.
over a fence.
That doesn't make sense. Because it doesn't make sense. Because if he has no respect for them, then how is he not learning from his first fall, from his second fall, from now his third fall?
Because he's got no respect for them.
Horses do have respect when they fall. Like they do. They learn very quickly. Oh, I don't want to do that again. And there's several different reactions that can happen. The horse will reject it, will throw the jockey up. I've been thrown off. These were show jumpers, and I was terrible at it. And I was very, very young doing it, and I was very, very average doing it as well, exceptionally average at it. I was probably fit to only muck out the horses, and I wasn't even really fit to do that, quite frankly. But having been around them from back in the day, there are horses that relish jumping. It's the best thing they do. There's some horses that once they suffer a fall, confidence gets completely shattered. Horses that were exuberant jumpers, which is what he was. He was a very exuberant jumper. That shot of him jumping the last, you mentioned this off air beforehand, is insane when he wins the champion hurdle. But also, that's not what champion hurdlers are supposed to do. You're not supposed to take off 10 feet before you're getting there, or a mile out. It looks great, but that exuberance then brought a swagger and a confidence to him that's now just been shattered. And so he should be learning. He should be realizing, wait, if I step at this, I'm going to end up on the deck. He's being hurt by that. He's being winded. Now, the fact that he's going off and galloping and running with his friends, essentially, because they're herd animals, and still pinging the last, means he's still enjoying it. There's something is happening to him when he comes to those hurdles. And I can't make out whether it's him or it's the indecisiveness of the person on board. And I'm not a jockey. I'm not brave enough to do that. And I have immense respect for Nico. This is a broadcast conversation. We're supposed to be able to float ideas and not being bashed or say, how dare you criticize a jockey, which is what was being said on social media the weekend. I don't get it. You have to try and look at everything. And you either draw stumps, go on an all-weather campaign, which will just be sad, I think.
Yeah.
Or you try something different with them. But I respect both of you immensely, lads. If you think chasing would work, fair enough. I think that would be a disaster.
I think it would Sprinter Sacro one, and even if he goes through the fences at Doncaster, at least he can go through them.
It would require courage that his connections do not have, and I completely understand that they'll sit on the fence. But I would do it. I would do it absolutely because I think it'll just make him. And you know what? It's probably a year too late, but I think he would jump fences fine. We've seen plenty of horses who go hurdling and who can't jump a fence. Ballyburn's a great example. We thought he'd be 4-1 for the Gold Cup right now, and he's not. this lad could be the opposite. Maybe actually he's got to the point where he doesn't respect his hurdles. Something fresh, completely reset. He's never done that discipline before. It'll be completely new. Nicky could get what he wants. You can find one of those ridiculous beginners chases with one other runner rated 55 pounds less than you. He can go around at 1 to 60 on or whatever it'll be. He'll jump round, he'll jump to it, and then he'll take to it, and then it opens up a whole load of options for him. I just think they are... You're right. Definition man is doing the same thing expected. If you keep going over hurdles at the highest level, he's going to make mistakes. And if Lossiemouth turns up at Christmas, Kempton may not be her track, but that means Constitution Hill has got to go at full pace to keep up with her. It's just, I could just see disaster happening. If he falls again, what are they going to do if he falls again over hurdles? Well, we're just going to keep going till eventually he injures himself or eventually they call stumps. Or you could say it's not too late. We could school him now. We could find a little beginners for him in January. And if he takes to it, great. We got a fences campaign. And if he doesn't, then we say he was an average champion hurdle with. Because all they're going to do is persist with this. And his current form figures since Kempton are one, when he basically fell. Just about got away with it to beat Brentford Hope. Fell in the champion hurdle, fell at Aintree, ran no race to Punchdown. Now he's fallen in the final fifth. They're the kind of form figures you see for a point-to-pointer that's 16 years old and just the owner wants a day out.
An exposed handicap chaser.
Yeah, it is. It's really bizarre.
Well, if it's any other horse, you're talking about a changing code. As in, you go chasing because you're going to have to do something different. And if he's a younger horse, that's certainly the true thing. By the way, I've seen plenty of comments from people saying about he should be retired and there's a social responsibility to this horse. That's a very dangerous line to be treading on. Because where does the social responsibility come in then if it's a multiple grade 1 winner who's 10 years of age, showing no signs of decline, falls and dies, God between us no harm? Do you then say the same thing? Why? Because he's fallen a couple of times? Do you think you have the right to tell Michael Buckley to never run a racehorse again? I think that's a bit much. I think I think the animal rights guys have really got to you. They've really shaken you. He's their horse. They have to decide what's right for him. And it's obviously frustrating for them because they're seeing him work brilliantly in the morning and he's obviously jumping fine when schooling. There's just something different when he's on the race course. And it is bizarre that it's the exact same spot at the exact same flight of hurdles that both horses fall. So maybe there was something with the hurdle as well that just wasn't, or something distracting for the new line that had gotten to Constitution Hill earlier. Don't know. But you can't keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. I don't envy Nicky Henderson with this decision because whatever he does, unless the horse wins, he's wrong. So, difficult one for him. Golden Ace should be given her flowers, but we have to talk about the new line first. Was he going to win? Jamie?
Yeah. He'd have stayed on. He'd beat the everyone's saying he's a stair, not a 2-miler, but a stair. Obviously, he wanted to turn hers, beating the Yellow Clay in final demand last year. We all know that. But he'd won, I think. It'd have been painful to watch because he was all over the place. But he just didn't enjoy being left in front of him. He needs a lead. He needs a pacemaker. Hopefully, a pacemaker will be put in for the Christmas hurdle at Kempton. Very strange. I've never seen him do that. But look, like you heard Dan Skelton after the race, that he did take a chance last year in the last hurdle. Yeah. In the Turners, so you always have that in your head that is he going to get over the last in the champion hurdle when he's back to the boards? You just never know. I think he would have won. Yeah, that's just me. I might be totally wrong. I wouldn't give up on him. No, and I think the 2 miles at Cheltenham would suit him more than a flat track at Newcastle. To say he's a stairs hurdle horse, no, JP is plenty more for a stairs hurdle horse. We get onto that.
That's nonsense.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
That's absolute nonsense. There's no way he's a stairs hurdle horse.
Maybe in time, because he's a small looking horse. In frame, he could end up going up to 3 miles later in life. But I can't see it at this present moment in time,
no. No, I think people are just putting the Cello hurdle run and putting 2 and 2 together because he's fallen.
Of course they are.
We'll talk about Golden Ace in a little bit. Lorcan Williams thought that he had her covered. What do you think, Adam? Would he have won?
Probably, but it wouldn't have been an impressive performance. I just think he down the back is what bugged me. When he tried to run out, was a bit like
It was weird.
That's a sign to me of a horse who's like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
Where are the others? It's almost like he's looking around like, am I on my own? What am I doing here? And then just the way he ran down when he comes down, he kind of dives to his left at the same time. Just think the whole situation got to him. And I think probably Harry had a plan of kind of, well, just watch Nico. Wherever Nico goes, we will. And then suddenly he's like, I'm in front. I don't really want to be here. Anzadam was going to be delivered late. I get what Lorcan Williams is saying, but I think you have to remember the New Lion's won over 2.5. He's won a Challow on deep ground. He'd have stayed all day. If he'd have jumped the last in front, he'd have won. But having said that, even if he'd have won by 2-3 lengths, is that really an achievement when you look at how I really admire Nemean Lion, but he got bloody close to winning a Grade 1.
Yeah.
And the Fighting Fifth can do that. Not so sleepy, dead heated for this. I mean,
the French Furs.
Everyone forgets Cornerstone Lad who won the Fighting Fifth, and you're like, bloody hell. That lad ended up running around Cartmel in the summer, I think. So it's kind of like, it can throw that up. It's not the greatest race. For the New Lion, I just think it's straightforward. Just get a lead. If they get a lead, they'll be fine. I don't think there's any problem with that. I just think they spent all of last year in his novice campaign sitting out the back, being patient, getting a lead, and then delivering him at the final flight. And then he turns up in open company and they expect him to make all. And surprise, surprise, it was a bit different and he made a mistake. If he stands up and wins it, he'd be 7-4 for the champion hurdle right now because that's the way the market is. So actually, if you are going to back the New Lion, 5-1's not a bad price. And I think in the champion hurdle market, at least for this year, you can guarantee he's going to be campaigning for the champion hurdle. And if he wins the Christmas hurdle, he'll be a very short price favourite. So don't give up on him. Let him get a lead, and then you'll see a better horse. The key now for the Skeltons is just to plan this right. Let's make sure we don't end up in this situation again because he obviously doesn't want to be in front too soon.
Yeah, that's the thing, though, that's interesting is the Christmas hurdle is almost certainly going to come next. I would imagine. Don't know. But that's going to be a small field race. Whereas the champion hurdle is probably going to end up being a big field race. And I think the reason it's going to end up being a big field race is because the connections of horses that were going to go for the county hurdle, maybe even the mare's hurdle, are going to look back at last year's one and go, oh, Golden Ace just turned up and won, and now she's won another Grade 1. So why wouldn't you go? If you've got a county hurdle horse that you think has got a chance, you probably should run in the champion hurdle this year. You might go and scoop the whole lot. So that'll suit him. Back to Cheltenham, big field, strong pace. That'll be ideal for him. Kempton could be a disaster for him. Small field, no pace, quiet run. If there's no Constitution Hill, well, that's bad for him because that's a horse that would be helping ensure a strong pace. Sergino might very well rock up. Is he alive? Don't know. We'll have to wait and see if he can cope with that. But he won the Fighting Fifth last year, and he's obviously got a lot of talent. Golden Ace jumps around. He might get turned over there again. I wouldn't be surprised if he does. And then that brings us to Golden Ace. So, what horse? Well done, Jeremy Scott. Yeah. This is fabulous. But she's only just in front of Nemean Lion.
Yeah, she is. But let's firstly applaud Jeremy Scott. After what happened at Wetherby, it would have been very easy to go, we got a bit lucky. We won a champion hurdle. Let's go down the mayor's hurdle route and just pick up sort of listed races. There's a really good mayor's program. But actually, he's gone, no, I think my horse is better than that. I'm going to roll the dice in the Fighting Fifth. She's beaten Anzadam, which the market said she had no right to do whatsoever. Anzadam looks a bit funky to me. I'm not really sure what that was in the straight, but she's out-battled him. Nemean Lion's fit. It's not amazing, but the one thing Golden Ace does that the others do is complete the course. She's done that twice, and they picked up 2 Grade 1s. Can she win another champion hurdle? I don't think so. But if you said, could she finish in the first 3? Yeah, she might.
Yeah.
Because she gets round, she runs a race, she finishes well. She showed a really good battling attitude. Really good. Because I thought at the second last, Anzadam, Poultown and just sitting here. And if you look at the way Golden Ace jumps the last, it's one of the most efficient jumps of the entire race. Low, straight, dive. You watch the geo data, she runs in a straight line up the straight. The others are all over the place. I think she's better than we sometimes give her credit for. Now, look, Connections have clearly hit the jackpot twice. And they must be kicking themselves thinking, what have we done in another life to earn this kind of luck? It's amazing. But fair play to her. She's actually a very good high 150s mare. Now, that's not enough to win a proper champion hurdle if they all turn up. But it is enough to run consistently at this level. And when others let themselves down, she's there. So I looked this morning, so I was thinking, should I be really sort of like artsy and think, well, if I can get a price, I'll back her each way for the champion because she'll get round. She's only 14s. That's not big enough for me. I'd want much bigger than that. I think she'll be bigger on the day. But it's not impossible to think that the each way part of that could cop and she'll hit the frame. And I know what he's saying about it being a big champion hurdle, but it's a big field champion hurdle on the assumption that something doesn't blow them away in the Christmas hurdle or the Irish champion hurdle. If something wins one of those races by half the track, all of a sudden you've got a small field champion hurdle because the division's very shallow and it takes one superstar performance to be an odds-on favourite in my book. So what we do know with Golden Ace is this is where she's going to go. She is going to run in the champion hurdle. I'd imagine they might even roll the dice and run in the Christmas hurdle. Why not? You'd probably take the view we're finishing the first 3 or 4. She's very good, but she is 10 pounds below superstar level.
They'd be mad not to run in the Christmas hurdle.
Yeah. Is that why wouldn't you? You may as well just keep running in these grade ones. Because let's face it, at the end, no matter what Constitution Hill does now, there's always the chance he doesn't complete. The new line needs to get a lead. I can't imagine Willie is going to bring any of his real superstars over before Cheltenham.
Anzadam will come back over for the Christmas hurdle, let's say.
She's beaten Anzadam. She's out-battled Anzadam.
Yeah, she has, but he's
made of biscuits. I'm just not sure.
It might be that he needed the first run and that he'll improve for it. That was his first go at Grade 1 company, first go at 2-mile championship pace. Jumped well.
I didn't like the head carriage. After the second last, he looks like he's trying to bite Golden Ace. It's sort of, he's leaning in. It's really awkward. And then he fluffs the last. But then what's more worrying for me about Anzadam is we take the speed figures 2 seconds after they cross the line. And he's got the highest figure, which suggests there's something left in the tank. And that was my only little bit of if you had something left in the tank, why didn't you go by her? And worse, how has Nemean Lion got that close? But the one thing I would say, if you want to do some analysis on this race, is if you look at where the 3 finishers are, look at where they are at the top of the straight and look at where they are at the line. The distances don't really change. So Nemean Lion has basically matched the other 2 all the way to the line. Nemean Lion is a good horse, but if I said to you Nemean Lion's the champion hurdle winner, I think you'd be thinking, well, I'll skip that race and have a cup of tea. So you have to kind of look at it and think, if Nemean Lion's run his race and the other 2 have just about held him off, as a piece of champion hurdle form, this needs to just have a nice big line put through it. And we move on, I think.
You might end up with Anzadam being third favourite for the Christmas hurdle. And I would be possibly tempted to back him, depending on what the lineup is. But certainly my gut instinct was, you've dogged that. You woof woof. That was the first reaction to it. But the more I've watched it back, he might just...
It's only his fifth start. It's his fifth
lifetime start. It's his
so
first run of the season. She's race fit. He's not. It's just Nemean Lion's run a big race there. Now, I like Nemean Lion. I really do like that horse. So maybe I shouldn't be using him as a 6-man. Well done, Kerry Lee. What a piece of placing. Supplemented for the fighting fifth. You end up finishing third. Well done, you. Betting for the champion hurdle. There's no odds on Sergino at 1xBet in Ireland, but the betting for the champion hurdle currently is Lossiemouth 7-4, the New Line 7-2, William Money 8-1, Constitution Hill 10-1. No faller insurance, I'm afraid. Wadu 12s, Golden Ace 12s, Anzadam 14s, and Alexi 20s. Who appeals to you for the champion hurdle? Adam.
No one. I don't.
Same as me.
I don't want to have a bet in this race. There's a lot of Cheltenham races this year. I just think there's no value. The kind of, I know I've seen lots of people make the case for Sergino, and I'm like, hang on a minute.
Is he alive?
Where one, we haven't seen him since he got injured. He hasn't run for 12 months. Secondly, the stable's other 2 superstars haven't exactly set the world alight. John Bond's only just finished the Slur Chase. The Constitution Hill hasn't finished. I'd need to see Sergino first, and you'd need to be really confident that he's going to do that. And I think that shows you how bad the champion hurdle picture is, or how confusing it is that we're sort of clutching at straws from left field to have a look. I kind of just, I don't really know how anyone could have a strong anti-post opinion on this, because you're just looking at this field thinking, like, is anything going to run? Will Lossiemouth run? The New Line's just fallen. I don't want to back him. Anzadam looked like he dogged it. Constitution Hill I couldn't back. Golden Ace is kind of like, I could have an each way bet, but I really think I'm throwing away the win part. Bright Days Ahead isn't going to run in that race. You're scrolling through thinking, like, can I find something at 50s that's going to turn up? I just don't. Just wait, because right now, unless Willie comes out and says Lossiemouth is my champion hurdle number one, and we're only aiming at the champion hurdle, and I promise you, on my mother's life, I won't run in the mare's hurdle this year. That would be the only thing that would make me think I'm going to form a strong opinion about Lossiemouth. Because I think if Lossiemouth lines up in this champion hurdle, she's odds on. That's my personal opinion. But the problem is, this time last year, I thought Lossiemouth will win the champion hurdle, and they dogged it. And what I don't want to happen is Lossiemouth has a below par run, which mares can do, and then they dog it again. Because let's face it, that mare's hurdle is a penalty kick. So just sit tight on this race and wait for the better betting option.
In their last 4 starts, the New Line, Lossiemouth, and Constitution Hill have all fallen at least once. So, I mean, even if she does run, she's no certainty. And they keep telling you, oh no, she's better over 2.5. She did win a Beulah. I know it was on the new course, but she bolted up by 9 lengths that day. Alexi is the one that interests me to a certain extent, but I don't know. I haven't backed him. I don't know if I am going to back him. I think it's a nightmare of a division. Jamie, who is your mythical tenor going on?
My mythical lots of tenors went on the New Line at 10-1 after he crossed the line in the turners, and he's the only horse I've backed for the rest. Okay. So I'm happy with my position. I'm delighted. Okay. Slightly delighted. But the biggest joke of all time, Emma, was we were talking about it Saturday. How is William Mully third favourite for the champion hurdle? I'm like, that is just an insanity. He hasn't even run an open company. He's 8-1 because he's finished second to Copac to Ford the Supreme. And all of a sudden now he's third favourite in his box for a champion hurdle, who I think is very ground dependent, like he fed across the way in his neighbour in Marine Nationale. So I just don't get it. I like Adam, just sit on the fence. Anzadam to me hangs like a gate. Doesn't go through it. Don't like the head carriage at all. But I was like you. I watched it back a few times, and I hate to say it. Would I give up on him? I might be doing a U-turn, but I think they'd have no choice but to go for the Christmas hurdle now and Anzadam, because they said Lossiemouth will stay at home for Leopardstown at Christmas and the DRF as well. So I think they have no choice but to give Anzadam another go against the New Line and possibly Constitution Hill again in the Christmas hurdle. The New Line, hopefully Skelton put in a pacemaker for the Christmas hurdle. But exactly, there's no value to the day. Sergino coming back. We haven't seen Sergino for ages. I haven't touched Sergino at 5-1 for a champion hurdle. But no, we'll get on to another one who later on.
We'll do it now. We'll do it right now. Beaten 11 lengths by Redemption Day, beaten 7 lengths by Work Ahead, beaten 1.5 lengths by Kawabunga, beaten 1 3/4 lengths by Copac de Boards, 8-1 third favourite for the champion hurdle. Hey, maybe he goes and wins. Maybe he does. Okay.
No.
I'll take Alexi. But I haven't backed him, so I'm just saying that. This episode is brought to you by 1xBet. If you're betting in Ireland, there are more than 7,000 events for you to bet on every single day. Fast withdrawals, new customer specials. There was a massive Black Friday bonus. It may still be there for Cyber Monday. We've become so American, haven't we? The link to 1xBet is available in the episode description on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you're listening to us. It'll take you right to 1xBet if you're in Ireland. 18 plus, terms and conditions apply. Gamble responsibly. Your game, your odds, your 1xBet. Teahupoo is in the winner's enclosure in dramatic fashion in the Hatton's Grace. The Old Warrior joins Honeysuckle, Apples Jade, and Solarina as a 3-time winner. But on the back of this, it's all changed for the Stairs Hurdle. Ballyburn is now the 2-1 favourite. Does that make sense to you, Adam Mills?
Not really, but it's kind of, that is the modern anti-post model that everyone sees a fast finisher. Everyone's so desperate to go, I got a good price. Here's my ticket. Let me tweet about it. And because of that, the prices just collapse. I mean, this is a bit of a messy race. I had my biggest bet of the entire year on Teahupoo yesterday. And to be honest, the air was blue when they crossed the line because I thought he was beaten. And I thought, you idiot. Because that was a silly bet to have, really. Yeah. But it just, I couldn't see him being beaten. I looked at that field and thought, the other 4 don't matter. And Ballyburn, I just don't think you could trust him. Now, I actually think that was one of the worst performances by Teahupoo that I've seen in a long time. Because when they jumped the second last, I thought and turned in, I just thought, this is over. He looks like he's going well. I know he stays. And what really concerned me is after he jumped the last, he just emptied. And this is a stayers hurdle horse. Now, you can tell me one about the ground, and everyone's going to say, oh, maybe he'll come on for the run. I'm like, but this is what Gordon does. 2 or 3 runs in a whole season. They get him absolutely primed to win these races. So if Teahupoo didn't run his race, which is understandable because he's been on the go a long time, he's 3-year-old in France, so he's kind of been racing 6-7 seasons now. He's had a lot of time. But if Teahupoo didn't run his race, then actually that means I have to think that Ballyburn wasn't as impressive as it looked. Because Teahupoo he was getting close to and probably should have beaten a below party. So if I take that view, regardless of what I think about Ballyburn, he can't be that short for a stayers hurdle. And I wouldn't touch him with a barge pole at 5-2 or 9-4, whatever he is. I think that's far too short. I think it'd be that price on the day. Because, we can debate the size of the champion hurdle field. What we know is the stayers hurdle will be full. The usual failures will line up, failed chasers, too slow for everything else, running the stayers hurdle. And I know that's harsh and there are 3-mile specialists, but that is what happened. It's true. I spend all this time, you can laugh, but I spend a lot of time looking at young horses in France, doing all this time looking at prospects. No one has ever emailed me and said, can you find me a horse that would win the long distance hurdle at Newbury one day? No one starts out there.
Thelema's still in the betting, Adam. That's how they'll all end up in the stairs hurdle.
Yeah, and Thelema's had 2 years off the track and he's probably retired, but that kind of shows you where we are. But look, if you want to back Ballyburn for the stayers hurdle, go ahead. Because actually, what we can say is Ballyburn did at least show a lot more spark. He looks much more comfortable over hurdles. He travelled well, but he's run down Teahupoo. I think Teahupoo was £10 below his best. Just not sure about Ballyburn yet. I thought it was a really clever ride. I thought they did their best. They obviously had a plan of kind of getting to the second last and see where we are and then try and deliver him. He's got a lot of speed, but he's got a lot of speed against a horse who's a 3-miler who ran below his best. So it looks better than I think it is. I'll leave it there. I don't really know with Ballyburn, but one thing I have made up my mind is Teahupoo won't carry my money. I think Teahupoo is past his best. And I think 2 years ago, Teahupoo would have won that by 4 lengths. And I did not like the way he emptied at all. And, he got beat by Bob Ollinger last time. This year is going to be a deeper stayers hurdle than last year's. I wonder if just Teahupoo's time has gone.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. He was very impressive at Punchestown. This was over 2.5. It's his first run of the season. He probably needed it. They've, at the last second, decided to go for this race when they were training him for Ascot. That's where he was going to go. The ground came good enough, and so they've run him and he's won. He's won over a trip that probably didn't suit him. I'd love to have seen Mystical Power stand up. I don't think it's a good thing that he's, again, come to grief in a race, but at least he showed a little bit more in this one, and he's really interesting for the stairs hurdle. But 3 miles is what Teahupoo is probably going to be best at, and that's where you're going to see him best. I thought it was very interesting that when he was asked by Gary O'Brien, is that going to be it now? Is it going to be the usual plan, or was it Brian Gleeson was saying to him, is it the usual plan? Gordon was like, don't know about that. I think we're going to see this fella over Christmas. I think we're going to see him a fair bit more, and wouldn't be certain that Ballyburn will beat him if they run him over 3 miles at Leopardstown at Christmas time, although Ruby Walsh seems to think that they turned the form around. What's your thoughts overall, Jamie?
I'm with Adam here, yeah. I think he's miles past his best. And a big, huge alarm ringing bells that came into my head, Emmet, when I saw Jack Kennedy being interviewed, saying basically it was borderline not soft enough for him. What is he on about? Seriously, no, I've great, he's from my neck of the woods, Jack Kennedy. Borderline not soft enough for Teahupoo. Like, he's won a good ground at Punchestown. I know it's the back end of the season, but borderline. And no, I think he's, but to me, where I leave Teahupoo exactly what Adam said, but beaten by Bob Ollinger last year regardless. I didn't think Bob Ollinger would stay. I was giving him a massive, better, unbelievable ride by Rachel McElroy, and probably the better ground got Bob Ollinger home against Teahupoo. I understand that part. But no, I think Teahupoo's had his day. He's run, just me, I might be totally wrong. But going back to Ballyburn, they might end up at Christmas together. Like, Ballyburn always does that in his first run. You notice, you go back and watch Ballyburn all these runs. I know he does it at start every with the low head carriage near
eating the grass.
But he does
every clerk of the course wants him coming to just keep the grass low.
Yeah, he does it kind of every first run anyway. He did it against Firefox and he's made in hurl, and everyone said, oh, Ballyburn's no good against Firefox. No. But you go back in these other races, the head's up, and if the head's up, and he goes for it. I think he's in the wrong division. I've said it for ages. I've had a little nibble for the champion hurdle. I thought he was overpriced at 25 to 1. I think you just buck him out in the champion hurdle and catch me if you can. Yeah. He's a stayer in a 2-mile race, and there's question marks over a lot of horses in the champion hurdle. He's a good, exactly. I'm just taking the words out of Adam's mouth and yourself, Emmet. He's a good jumper of a hurdle. Like, he'd have won the Supreme if he ran in the Supreme that year. Yeah. He'd have absolutely romped it. So I just don't understand it.
Soy, who's gone and won a Coral Cup and then bolted up over fences.
Yeah, he'd have beaten Slade Steele and Mystical Power with his mouth open in the Supreme.
He already had beaten Slade Steele. He'd smashed him to pieces at the DRF.
Yeah. He gave us £7 to who was supposed to be the next Oracle coming out of Nicky Henderson. I know he was outpaced by Sergino, but that's Kempton over 2 miles. This is 2 miles at Cheltenham. So I just don't understand it. I think he should be in the champion hurdle. Even when he finished his novice hurdle campaign, Willie Mullen says, my chance was a champion hurdle horse. To me, he doesn't stay 3 miles. I think he wouldn't stay in the new course over 3 miles. He's too keen on the early part of the race. He'll come there in the stairs hurdle looking like the best horse in the race. But I don't think he'll get up the hill in a 3 mile race. That's just me. I think he should be in the champion hurdle. But they won't. They'll try. I hope they do try the stairs route and then they get well beaten. And then they might have a thing. But that'll all depend, obviously, like Lossiemouth. Like last day, Lossiemouth was being taught how to be a front runner, to be a champion hurdle horse in Morrigan. It was a poor race. But then they've Anzadam too. So that's, I suppose, probably clutching his straws there with the 2 mile division. But I think Ballyburn should be in the 2 mile division. That's just me. But his optimum trip, regardless of what it is 2.5 miles. But he didn't stay 3 miles as a chaser. How is he going to stay 3 miles as a hurdler? I know it's different, the smaller obstacles, but...
Well, it takes more stamina to stay over 3 miles over hurdles than it does over fences, according to Willie Mullins.
Yeah.
Because he pointed out he pointed that out with Gallop on the Champ when people were saying, does he really stay back in the day? And he said, what are you talking about? He won over 3 miles over hurdles, and it's harder to stay over hurdles. So that's Willie Mullins' view on it. Mm-hmm. I'm with you. I'd put him in the champion hurdle. I'd be going for that division, or at least the 2.5. And I think 2 to 1 for stairs. All right, good luck to you.
To be honest with you, I mean, all whatever people think, and everyone's entitled to their opinion, he's an absolute penalty kick for the entry hurdle.
Solid moral for that race. He's a wonderful talent. We're huge fans of Ballyburn on this show. We're huge fans of Nico de Boinville. We can criticize and ask questions and go, hey, I'm not so sure about this. That's the whole point of it. This episode is brought to you by 1xbet.ie. More than 7,000 events for you to bet on every single day. Fast withdrawals, new customer specials. The link is in the episode description. If you're listening on any podcast app, watching us on YouTube, click the link in the episode description. It'll take you right there for betting in Ireland. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. Gamble responsibly. 1xbet knows the crack. Bet with your head, not above it. Did we see a more suitable stairs hurdle candidate in Impose Toi? And this was a Nico de Boinville. Absolute special from him. And maybe you could look at beating Strong Leader and go, well, that form's not good enough. But this is only his second start over 3 miles. It's his first one over 3 miles in graded company. He was, for the second time in a row, heavily gambled on. 10 to 1 with 1xbet in Ireland looks very fair to me, Adam Mills.
Yep. Yeah, I think 10 to 1 Impose Toi is much better value than 2 to 1 9-4 Ballyburn. This is more of a traditional staying type. People can mock the Strong Leader form, but you got to remember what strong leader on a flat track is lethal. Yeah. He just needs a flat track. He's not a Cheltenham horse, but his record at Newbury, Aintree, Wetherby is really good. He was race fit from Wetherby, and Impose Toi has cantered all over him as far as second last and has outstayed him in a battle. That's a serious piece of form. Seriously good piece of form. Impose Toi, the good thing is he's won this. Because although he's Pertemps qualified, there's no hope whatsoever of getting in the Pertemps now. We're going the stayers hurdle. You know what you're going to get. I think he's probably, I haven't had an anti-post bet yet, but he's the closest I've come. Because I looked and thought, you know what, I could really see you're going to run. I don't think there's 3 or 4 better than you. 10 to 1 looks very fair on what I saw. And I really like the attitude after the last. On a long rein, it's head down. Come on in. He's up for the fight. He's won that race at Aintree. I was a little bit suspicious of because it's one of those stupid the hurdles are all omitted and you're kind of weaving in and out. But he's just got loads of stamina, absolutely tons of stamina. He's an AQPS winner in France. I think he's pretty versatile when it comes to ground. He jumps well. He travels as far as second last, which is what you need to stay as hurdle. You know, he is very good, very good. And this was just a seriously good performance. I disagree. When people criticise Strong Leader, I just think, yeah, but this wasn't beating Strong Leader at Cheltenham. This was beating him on a flat track.
Yeah.
Which is what he is.
In a race he'd won the year before.
Yeah, it's a good piece of form. It's a really good piece of form. I would hope now that they aim Impose Toi at the Cleve Hurdle, because I'd like to see him get some experience of going 3 miles on the new course at Cheltenham. And if they aimed at the Cleve Hurdle, that would fit. And if he runs well in the Cleve Hurdle, I think he's probably going to be somewhere in the region of 7-2, 4-1 for the stayers. So if I see a Cleve Hurdle entry, I will probably have to have a bit of anti-post for the stayers.
I backed him at 20-1 for the Stairs Hurdle on the back of that entry performance. And maybe that's one of the reasons why I'm like, no, I'm not so sure about Ballyburn. But I really like Impose Toi, and I think he's a fascinating Stairs Hurdle candidate, Jimmy.
Oh, indeed. And exactly what Adam says, it's just a pity he wasn't per times qualified last year, because he would probably have won that. Even though we thought he did great, he'd probably won that.
I think he would have had the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, he would have won that if he ran in there and if he was qualified. There's no doubt about that now. Second to Jimmy's aside in the Coral Cup. We'll get on to him as well. Yeah, I just like the way he runs, and it's just the way he runs. And look, exactly what Adam says. We're beating Strong Leader in his backyard on a flat track, and he just grounded out, and he has that Stairs Hurdle where you think he's beaten, but there's a little bit extra in the bonnet, and I like that. To be honest with you, if you're looking in hindsight at the moment, I wouldn't, like, you look at the betting 5-2, Ballyburn 2, can't touch them. Bob Manager, sure he's too old. There's 2 in Gordon LHR who I have, but I don't really, I know he's going back Stairs hurling, honesty policy. You have to see him yet, but the one I back for the race is I won't give up. I know he was beaten by Colonel Mustard the last day, but it was an absolute swamp at Navan, and he'd be better on better ground. I still won't give up on the yellow clay in this division, no.
Okay.
No. And where he goes next is going to be very interesting, especially where Ballyburn and Teahupoo are going after Garnier, as you said, going, I don't know, we might try him somewhere else. But the only thing Broadcore have Bob Ottinger and they've hidden Valley Lake might end up in Ascot. So you just don't know. So look, I won't give up on the yellow clay. I was delighted with his first run of the season, Jennifer. So look, I think yellow clay and Impose Toi at this present moment in time are the plays for anti-post, I think, for the Stairs Hurdle at the moment.
That was a slow motion finish behind the Mustard, by the way, as well. It was a harder race than I'd say Gordon Elliott thought was ideal for him, but
yeah,
maybe the very simple thing is just back the 2 second season hurdlers, yellow clay in a double with the new line, Cheltenham form, and throw in Final Demand for the treble. Done. See you in Dubai. See you in Dubai. Just throw Final Demand in every single bet. Oh wait,
I haven't done that bet at all, Emmet, have I?
The question then becomes,
what you and about, Mills?
Is there now a threat for Kopeck de Boards or a threat for Final Demand in the shape of Romeo or Coolio? A 10th Drinmore for Gordon Elliott. This might be the best of them, and that's saying something. He travelled like a monster, jumped like a natural, put the race to bed with ease with that slick jump at the last. Romeo Coolio looks an absolute monster, Adam Mills.
Does he? Or did he win an absolutely rancid renewal of the Drinmore?
I totally agree with Adam Mills.
I thought this was an absolutely terrible race. And now what I want to say is Romeo Coolio is very good. He's much better over fences. He's got really good jumping action. He travels superbly. But this was rancid. This was dire. And I think there's 1 or 2 English trainers with nice 2-mile novices who need a slap round the face with a wet fish because they've missed a great opportunity here. This was absolutely winnable. And I don't understand it. We all get so obsessed with, the Irish are better than us. This was like a British grade 1. It was so bad. And yet no one from the UK has gone, I've got a nice novice. Let's check them out. Selby, that is what it is. Romeo Coolio is very good. His jumping's absolutely perfect. He's really slick, very fast through the air. I think Romeo Coolio is going to be a victim of the Cheltenham programme because I think he's not quite quick enough for the Arkle. I don't really think he's up for a 3-mile battle with Final Demand. And I think the handicapper will absolutely bend him over a barrel if they try and run him in the Jack Richards, if he even got in. So that leaves them with a little bit of a dilemma. Or do they just say, you know what, maybe we won't go to Cheltenham. And maybe we'll try and pick up some other races. I thought he was really good. I think he'll win more Grade 1s. But I'm not looking at the Drinmore thinking there's 5 or 6 really good horses here. I'm looking at a Grade 1 horse beating future Grand Annual handicappers, because that's what it looked like to me on paper.
Willie was really talking up his horse going into it, saying that he actually said he thought his horse would have more speed than Romeo Coolio come over the last, which I thought that was an interesting thing to say about, considering you're taking on a horse who was runner-up in a champion bumper and third in a Supreme Novice Hurdle. But hey, Willie Mullins knows his stuff, so fair enough. I liked it. I thought it was a very, very stylish performance. He was beaten at this race meeting a year ago. He clearly is better over fences than he was over hurdles. He was entitled to go and win it, but he won it really well. Form doesn't always work out, but Fakir Duderi turned out to be pretty good. Envoylen, obviously, 10-time Grade 1 winner. Don Cossack ran in this race as well. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. But Jamie Wrenn is in agreement with Adam Mills by the sounds of things.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with him. It was an awful race, to be honest. And if you're judging that Gold Denture is one of the best novice chasers in Willie Mullins here, you want to go to Spectators and check.
I'm telling you what Willie Mullins said. I didn't say that.
I know.
I'm telling you what Willie Mullins said. Willie Mullins said. Willie Mullins said that he thought his horse had more speed and that would be better suited to this race than Romeo Coolio, which I thought was a really interesting thing for him to say. Which then, in my mind, makes me think he thinks Romeo Coolio is a 3-miler.
Yeah, 100%. But I think Gold Dancer has been running around the summer. He needs better ground, and he's 105.3 rated chaser, and he's probably going to end up next year in a Galway plate. So just wait till next year with him. That's just me. I wouldn't touch him for any other race for the rest of the season. He needs better ground. Like 9 lengths to Captain Cody, who won a Scottish Grand National. Like, is Romeo Coolio's the next coming? No. Rafa Dolce Vita doesn't know how to run a race. And then old man Dingle and Pied Piper were out the back of the telly. That's good for him to win at Cheltenham? No. KTTA lads are definitely going to go to Cheltenham. I can't see him beating Copac de Board or Lenarvan in an Arkdale. And I can't see him beating Vital Demand or Jimmy Desai in a Brown. So they're in limbo, and exactly what Adam said, he's victim of the programme change at Cheltenham, because he made an absolute penalty kick for the old jail team the last time Grade Dawning won the race when it was a Grade 1. He made an absolute penalty kick for that. He made an absolute certainty. But that's unfortunate. I think he's a 3-miler. He's not a 2-miler. He's a bit one-paced, I think, Emmet. I don't think there's no turn of foot there. I think he's just not relentless. Good jumper, good traveller. But you saw last year there's no end product when he was beaten by Salvatore Mundi and Copac de Board. So I think he should go 3. That's just me. I think he'd have no chance in America. That's just me. I don't think he'll win a Cheltenham regardless, so it doesn't make a difference.
I think
there is the Powers Gold. I always call it the Powers Gold Cup at Ferry House. It'll be a penalty kick for that.
Yeah, I think that's what Gordon wants to do, by the sounds of things. They either there or Aintree, but the owners are like, no. Guys, he's 14-1 for the Brown Advisory. There's very little. I think the only way of doing it these days with anti-post betting is you need to be creative. You got to be creative, and that's one of the reasons why I backed Impose Toi. It's like no one's going to talk about this horse. He's just won a Pretemps qualifier. They're going to consider him a handicapper, but it's a very open division, and if he's able to improve, then he might be able to come through. Ballyburn for the champion hurdle. You're trying to think of something different. You have to. Everything that's obvious is underpriced. You're being asked to take prices about horses now for races. 5-1, for example, for a horse you'll easily get 7-1 about on the day. 6-4 about a horse now that on the off chance that they might be a 5-1 on shot on the day. Maybe they will be. Maybe they won't. Final Demand is 5-4 for the Brown Advisory on the back of 1 run. Romeo Coolio is now a Grade 1 winner. You can belittle that form all you want. There's a Scottish Grand National winner in behind. Maximus won this race and went on to win a Grand National, having won an Irish Grand National. I wouldn't be too dismissive of that. 20-1 with one firm, 14-1 across the boards, totally unexposed. Might improve for 3 miles. Might. It's not really in the pedigree, but he's a KF Tara, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. I think this fella wins the Faugheen, and suddenly it's all change. I think it's a huge price for Cheltenham. And the Brown Advisory is where I'd be looking. I know they're talking about the Arkle and they want a speed horse and all this kind of stuff. I'd be much more interested in for the Brown Advisory. So, look, it's a yay from me. The Emperor says no from the two boys. They don't believe it, but I very much do believe it. Wendigo. So, just outstayed them, really. I mean, coming over the last, I thought no questions asked, had it in the bag, and then suddenly that long Newbury run-in just changes things dramatically. Regent Stroll's horse we need to talk about as well, because he's just a little bit of a lunatic in front, but if he settles better the next day, he'll be really interesting. Codestar next for Wendigo. Is that going to suit him, Adam?
He might win it, but he might win it because there isn't British 3-mile novice chasing. It's not that deep. What Wendigo, I watched Wendigo and I thought, all the way up the trail, I thought he's in trouble here. He's in trouble. What Wendigo is very honest, really gutsy. Puts his head down. That run in the Albert Bartlett last year was huge because he was on completely the wrong part of the track. Really good effort to finish 5th. He's taken to chasing. But he did outstay him. I looked at Wendigo and thought, National Hunt Chase. That was what I was looking at you and thinking, This is your race, mate. Stay all day long. And it's not impossible to look at Wendigo and think, in 18 months' time, could you run in a Grand National? I think he might. I think he's that kind of type. Really good, honest horse. Probably doesn't quite have the class to sort of take on the likes of Final Demand. I know he's in the betting for the Brown Advisory, but I just thought I could see Wendigo getting really outpaced by a classy type. But I could never see Wendigo being outstayed. I think he'll stay forever. I think he's a national horse in the future. It's a really great story with the racing club. If the National Hunt Chase came out and they said that was the plan and you could get a price, you'd be tempted. You'd definitely be tempted because I just think that will really suit. Will he win the Cato Star? I don't know. I don't think it's that deep. And if there isn't an Irish runner, this race tends to be pretty poor. In hindsight, the race Les Français one was absolutely rancid. So you're kind of looking at that Cato Star and just thinking, I actually think for Wendigo, they want there to be a good horse in there because they need there to be a pace. The last thing Wendigo wants is some tactical race with 4 runners where it becomes a sprint from the third last because that's where he's vulnerable. But he's got really good stamina. He might be good enough to win a Cato Star. If he ends up in the National Hunt Chase, I think I'd want to back him. I really like him. I think he's honest. And I kind of think like, at the end of this season, if he's still on this kind of upward trajectory, I'll be looking at next year thinking like he's going to be a mad price for the Grand National. He's going to be a mad price for the Cup. But he just stays so well. And I don't think he'll ever get outstayed by anything. So for that reason, he's the horse that you just want to just keep watching him. Keep watching him. And all the time he improves, be with him. And if he lines up in that National Hunt Chase, he will be my bet. I haven't seen a better staying novice either side of the Irish Steed. But it's all about stamina because he doesn't have the class.
Well, it depends on what kind of a mark he's going to get as well, like what kind of weight he's going to have to carry. But because they obviously another one of their genius changes to Cheltenham. But that's the race for him for sure. Depending on what kind of rating he's going to get, and he might just be a little bit too classy for this. Gordon,
who are you calling Gordon?
Book the ferry. Get Romeo Coolio over to Kempton. You'll absolutely rip up that Codestar Novices Chase. Free money for you, Gordon. Free money. Book the flight. Jack, book your Ryanair flights now. You'll take that You'll take that Codestar Novices Chase. You'll do it with handstands. Jamie, your thoughts on Wendigo?
I don't want to put cold water on what you said, Adam, but isn't the National Hunt Chase capped at 145, isn't it? Is it?
Yeah, there you go.
Good point. Good point.
Forget about it.
Mind you, don't forget he's British, so the handicapper might take off a few
I totally agree with that.
I know the way you're thinking revenge. They'll give him deliberately a mark of 145 just so he can get in.
He'll get off 133.
Yeah. Let's
get a win on one. Come on, slide one in.
Exactly what Emmet said. They're after messing it up. Like you 3 145 chases. Like. Do you know what I mean? You have the National Hunt Chase, you have the Jack Richards, and you have the Kim Muir, all under 145.
The alternative option they have is to look at the Ultima, because he's had a couple of starts over fences. You do just about have enough time to get him handicapped. If he runs in the Cato Star, you could potentially get him handicapped for that. He's a really nice novice.
He's a good horse. He's probably going to Yeah, but like he was rated 143 over hurdles. Like I was at pains to say I was saying to Joe on our other show, and said, "Don't win the week last Friday. Don't win last Friday," because he's an absolute certainty for the national chase. But if he stays on the water, but he probably won't. Exactly, Emmet. All jokes aside, he'll end up in the quarter Sargent weighed out. After that, I'm clutching at straws to think about who's going to turn up in that race. Far weighed out, Wendigo.
Do it, Gordon. Bring him over.
No, he won't.
Bring him over, Gordon.
When you just took the words out of Romeo, who is going to go to the 14 at Christmas, the Grade 1 at Limerick. So, Regent Stroll, I don't know what to make of him. Do you know what I do with Regent Stroll? Put him back over 2 miles and let him go.
Yes, good lad.
That's what I said. And both Daryl Jacob and Tanya Stevenson on TalkSport 2 went, no. Put a hood on him.
Just
and
let him go.
He'll settle better over this trip next day.
I'm with you guys.
I think bowl along in front, but back down a trip.
Can he go, just the one thing in my head, can he go right-handed? I've always seen him left-handed in my head. But if he went right-handed, isn't the Henry the 8 coming up? But that's probably next week. That's probably too sharp.
Yeah, that's this weekend.
This weekend, yeah. It's just, I'd like to see him over 2 miles the next day, and I'll back him over 2 miles and just let him go. The one that look, King of Kingsfield, that we all know what they're doing with him. He's going to run into Jack Richards.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, but more to come as. The one horse I wouldn't give up, I actually backed him in the race. More fool me. But it was his former Jacks Jr. who won at Kempton last Monday. I wouldn't give up on that Kingston Pride if he stayed under 145 on National Chase, because I think he stays all day. It's not an amateur jockey race now, so Sean Bourne will obviously be on.
Yeah.
So he was just badly outpaced over 2.5 miles. I think the step up to 3.5 miles in the National Chase is tailor-made for him. So I would not give up on him. And it's a very eye-catching race, to be honest with you. Very eye-catching for that time of year and for Newbury and English racing. No offence to English. No question asked is probably another one handicap. But Wendigo will probably have no choice to go for a Browns now, Emmet. But he is tailor-made for a national down the line because he is the speed to win over 2.5 miles. And I kind of base my national horses on that. If you can keep up over 2.5 miles in a decent graded company, you're a Grand National horse in my book, because how small defences are now, and you have to keep up with the pace early. But it's up to any if you have stamina reserves. But yeah, it's a very interesting race going forward, and there's going to be a lot of winners out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
I know it's only 600, but there's going to be a lot of the horses winning certain type of races.
I'm glad you mentioned Kingston Pride as well, because this is a horse that was being talked about as being potentially the next Constitution Hill, the next big 7 Barrow superstar. Just didn't happen. He was sent off 6-4 for it. Was it a Sandown Grade 2? Which he ended up being pulled up in, and then he wins at the end of the season. He beat another horse that was a bit disappointing under Nico at Kempton, and he's now obviously with new connections. But his connections sounded reasonably bullish about him over the weekend, and I would very much keep him on side in terms of going forward. There's a horse who is currently 10-1 for the Brown Advisory on the back of his debut, and in fact he's as short as 8-1 with one firm. Which makes no sense to me, considering you can get 20-1 about Romeo Coolio. But more on that in a second. This episode is brought to you by 1xBet. In Ireland, more than 7,000 events for you to bet on every single day. Crucially, those rapid, fast withdrawals. That's what you really want. New customer specials. There's a whole load of incentives for you to sign up at the 1xBet website. If you're looking for something different, now is the time. Switch to 1xBet. You can find out more about them. The link is in the episode description. It'll take you right to the website. 18 plus, terms and conditions apply. Gamble responsibly. Your game, your odds, your 1xBet. Jimmy DeSoy goes into the history books, a 900th career winner for Patrick Mullins. It was great to see him do that. Also great to see him make his Chase debut and it being a winning one. It's another week, another Willie Mullins horse winning on Chase debut. But does 10-1 for the Brown Advisory tempt you, Adam Mills?
It doesn't tempt me, but I completely understand why is that price, because there's nowhere else for Jimmy DeSoy to run. He's going over fences. He's not going to get into a handicap. Willie couldn't give a monkeys about handicap chases. So Jimmy DeSoy is going to be this year's Lecky Watson, second string. Final Demand's obviously the main hope, but Jimmy DeSoy will run in that race. Therefore, if you were pricing him, you've got to be kind of thinking, well, we don't want the each way money to bite us in the backside. What are his true odds of beating Final Demand? I'd want, if it was win only, I'd be want 25s at least before I'd be tempted. I don't think the each way's the greatest bet in the world. But he'll probably finish in the first 3 or 4. I thought it was a really good display. I really like the way he jumped. I think he's got a lot of ability. He's obviously had his issues, but he's run really well at Cheltenham before. He handles the track. He's going to be campaigned there. They'll probably sort of dodge his final demand as far as they can. So I'd imagine you'll kind of see Jimmy DeSoy running in the slightly lesser prep races. But yeah, this was really good. I don't think we can fault him for a beginner's chase. I think it was pretty nice performance. It's a long way short of what final demand achieved. But I was kind of thinking, if you're looking at that Brown advisory, I think the spread of runners has got to be 5 to 6. I don't think you'll have more than 6 or 7 in that field at a maximum. And Jimmy DeSoy is going to be one of them. So that's probably why he's that price.
Which is fair enough, because it's definitely a race that's going to suit him. The Big Westerner may very well be reopposing him. She ran well, and for a Henry Bromhead horse, I would imagine she'll improve for that. But what did you make of Jimmy DeSoy and then the Big Westerner, Jamie?
Yeah, she's rated £15 in fear anyway, so regardless if she's getting the over hurdle, and she was getting the weight anyway of Jimmy DeSoy. I don't know what that Big Westerner, I think, look, 2.5, was it 2 miles, 5.5 the weekend? I think she could end up in her Browns too. I think she's a 3 miler. I think she'd have absolutely no chance of it in the mare's chase going forward in it. I know it's open and novices now. That's so stupid the rules are for the mare's chase and partially, but that's the way it is. I don't know with her. I thought she finished a lot closer regardless of the ratings of her hurdles, but look, she's going to go down mare's hurdles. She's going to end up in Clonmel and all those races before Cheltenham and then end up at Cheltenham, but I wouldn't shoot them part like that. But look, Jimmy DeSoy, 10 to 1. I know a few people are on the 40s for the race. A few friends of mine backed it. They took the chance at the start of the season with him. He's probably the each way bet to nothing because it's going to cut up and it's going to badly cut up. It'd be like the year of Monkfish one, final demand will go off 1 to 4 or something like that, and then Jimmy DeSoy would be 5 to 2 in the day. 10 to 1 to find out each way if that's your game. More luck to you, and I can't see him out of the first 3 really, to be honest with you. Exactly what I said, the second string, you never know. Final man might tip up Jimmy DeSoy, but in an ordinary year where Browns at this present moment in time, no final demand, Jimmy DeSoy would end up favourite now, wouldn't he?
Ooh. So, if there's no final demand, Romeo Coolio definitely runs.
Oh, I know that, but Jimmy DeSoy probably had a favourite. Cheltenham 4. Won a Coral Cup. He's shorter in the bet.
Jimmy DeSoy was second in a champion bumper, and Romeo Coolio was second in a champion bumper and third in the Supreme. And people are raving about William Money. You can't be raving about William Money and then just be completely dismissive of Romeo Coolio. So, I thought it was fine.
Jimmy DeSoy beat apparently the horse that you think is going to win the stairs hurdle.
Oh yeah, I know. He beat Impose Toi, but that was a handicap.
Yeah, I know. But look. No, I think it's just pure simple. He's the each way bet to nothing in the Browns for the Browns at the moment.
He's a smashing prospect, and they've always held him in high regard. They really liked him as a juvenile as well. So look, we'll see how he gets on. But that was a really pleasing start, and I'm sure Patrick will be relishing the opportunity to take on final demand with him at some point because Paul Townend ain't getting off him. A couple of horses just raced through very, very briefly. There were 2 juvenile hurdlers that Gordon Elliott ran over the weekend. The one in Newbury I was really impressed with. She'd won one of those stupid academy hurdles, but instead of going for the option of a maiden, pitched straight into a listed race. It was the same race Wadu won, and she won very impressively. And then Mange 2 comes out and wins the juvenile at Ferryhouse. What was your take on both of those horses, Adam Mills?
The Newbury race first, I think it would be a mistake to think that this filly isn't capable of being top class because she's won an academy hurdle. Because actually she won that academy hurdle by the best part of a furlong. And then she's gone to Newbury. I thought she showed a lot more battling qualities. I'm a little bit worried about the fact that I kind of looked at that and thought she should be winning this by 10 lengths when you look at what she's up against. And it took her a long time to get on top, but she did. So that was pretty impressive. I don't particularly think of her as a Triumph hurdle type, though. I just think there's better to come. If we deal with the race at Ferryhouse, I understand why Mange 2 is favourite for the Triumph because she's won the Down Royal race and then she's won this. But I just looked at that and thought, this is like the sort of the support act. And we haven't really seen the best of the juveniles yet. I know there's a lot of juveniles coming. Narciso has been at the top of the market all summer, purely because there was a bit of publicity when JP bought him. I think it would be really rich for me to sit here and having trained no Grade 1 winners and tell Willie Mullins what to do. But I think they made a mistake in going right-handed when Narciso has. I think they should have looked at the Toy run, seen the way he was ridden, the way he travelled and switched to the outside in the closing stages. And I think Narciso would have won yesterday if he wasn't compacted. When he got into the straight and he hit the front, Monsters alongside him, and he all looked a bit like, oh, I don't really want to be in this gap. And then he fluffs the last, loses a lot of momentum. Then he goes again. I think Narciso will reverse that form next time they meet. I think he'll be a better horse left-handed if they go to Leopardstown, without doubt. But I looked at that yesterday and thought, I don't think those with fancy, very expensive French purchases will lose too much sleep over this race. And I think there's better horses to come. So I still haven't had a bet in the Triumph, but I wouldn't want to take Monge 2. I think Monge 2 is the most forward at this time. And I think by the time we get to the Spring Juvenile at the DRF, there'll be others who've gone past her.
Jamie, your thoughts on the two?
Yeah, just echoing what Adam said, to be honest. Highline Crystal looks like an absolute future boat, 3 mile chaser.
Nice boat. High class boat.
Yeah, high class boat. But look, I've been sentimental here. The order of the second horse might have a day out, a great day out at Cheltenham on the first day. So he's 2 horses to go to war for, one for the Supreme and one for the Boodles, because I think Tralee Girl, who's aptly named from where I'm from, could end up in the Boodles, and I wouldn't give up on her because she's a flat horse and will appreciate better ground. But Highline Crystal, oh God, they took an absolute. I was saying, is she going to get there? So I mean, I even looked at my phone and said, oh yeah, she's winning now. Oh, fair enough. I thought I've lost 2 minutes of my life there waiting for her to get up, but anyway. But she is a good horse going forward, there's no doubt about that. But no, I wouldn't touch her for the trying. Monge 2 is just forward at the moment, had to run it down Royal. Narciso hadn't had a run. Long story short, if they run it in the Stephen Stevens Day Juvenile, the night, whatever it's called, Narciso will reverse the form.
Okay. Cocktail Brute wins the Royal Bond. Do you have any interest in him for a Grade 1, Adam Mills?
No.
Jamie Wrenn.
The worst running of the Royal Bond of all time.
Yeah, it was pretty woeful. But well done. Well done, Cocktail Brute. Well done to the team. They've got their Grade 2 win, and best of luck.
I will say briefly, Emmet, Barry Connelhurst, each to their own. I would not give up on him on better ground off a fast pace because he was a pain to jockey to settle him. I would not give up on him. Is the only one I took out of the race.
Okay, excellent stuff. We told you on Thursday that Tutti Quanti was too big a price at 18-1, and we made him a pretty bullish bet. Andy Newton then said, the Final Furlong podcast posse have got to get this horse as a gamble. We've got to get this horse cut in price. There's no way Andy Newton thought we were sending that horse 85-40 favourite. And I know that Live Conti came out, or Live Conti, whichever one you describe him. Doesn't matter. Apparently, I don't know, but I'm told Harry Cobden told a certain podcast that this horse was going to need further.
He should take that back.
No. Keep telling people that. That's what we need, Harry, because that made sure that we got that bigger price. And Harry Cobden by! What a ride, by the way. What a ride. I was screaming at the telly that Peter Michael's horse was coming along, Indemnity, to go and pick up. I was like, oh no. But Cobden had a little bit more left in reserve. Really nice performance. That horse will go on. Probably will be better over further and win more races. Just wanted to do a little bit of a pat on the back there. And well done to those of you who followed us in. We're back on Thursday, of course, with the preview. Smash a like on this episode if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode of the Final Furlong podcast. Panic Attack was technically speaking £3 well in. One famous pundit on TV dismissed her as having no chance of staying. She stays really well. She's improved for it. This is some training performance from the Skeltons. This horse had seemingly hit a ceiling with her previous trainer. She was once upon a time with Willie Mullins. She was bought for big money. Now she's won a Paddy Power and a Hennessy in the same season. The first horse to do it since 19 Dickety-Doo. Really, really smart stuff. Yeah, Celestial, it was Martin Pipe horse, wasn't it?
Gold.
Celestial Gold. Yeah, the old late great David Johnson Silks. It's really smart performance though, Jamie, wasn't it?
It was. Hindsight's a great thing. My father said to me, "Isn't it just obvious panic attack wins?" So I go, "Not a hope."
Yeah, I was against it too.
Look, hindsight is a good thing. I don't know where they're going to. I think, to be honest with you, Emmett, I might be talking outside my whatever, but I think she's no choice now to rock up in a mare's chase. Do you? She's won at Cheltenham. She's not out of a place there. Yep. Because there is improvement to come. Has she reached her ceiling? She might have, but I think maybe handicaps are out of the question now. Whatever she might still have a bit more in the tank, whatever she gets reassessed. But I think they have no choice to be able to go for the mare's chase now. And look, she's not without a chance. And whatever price you can get for her, I wouldn't put you off each way because you just don't know who's going to turn up in the mare's chase and it could cut up badly. So yeah, that's all I can say at the moment. Will they go handicap her again? Where she could end up, maybe they might put her away till the new year. Maybe she's had 2 runs in 2 weeks. The only the race that comes into my head was the one that Cromwell sent over the horse. There's a mare's chase at Doncaster, maybe. Yeah, a graded race there.
Yeah,
like what's the Limerick? What was the Limerick
Lace?
Limerick Lace.
Limerick Lace won it. Yeah. So I think that may be the next port of call for her, and you can judge her then on that if she's going for the. But I think there's no choice now but to go to the mare's chase. That's just me.
Yeah, she'll be 10 by the time the race comes around, but she's improving. Yeah. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. But she is improving, so why not? And it's on the new course at Cheltenham, so greater emphasis on stamina. Yeah, give her a go. Mm-hmm. That's what I'd do with her, Adam.
Yeah, I don't see what the choice they have now. The handicapper is not going to relent. So, and it's not like she scraped home here. She was really dominant from sort of the second last onwards. Really good performance. I guess the only sort of note of caution is kind of, it sounded to me like Dan Skelton had no intention of running in this, and then Harry said, "No, she's really bouncing. We've got to give her a go." They put her in. I mean, they didn't even have Harry to ride. Tristan Darrell gets a ride. Brilliant. I thought he did brilliantly to get her home.
Yeah.
I'd just be a little bit cautious with any mare that's kind of the mares that are at their peak before Christmas can easily go off the ball just as much. But, you know, it's not impossible to think she can run in a mare's chase. If she runs in the mare's chase in the same form that she showed at the weekend, she'll be in the first 3. Because that mare's chase every year, we all go, "Oh, it's going to be brilliant." It's not. It's terrible. And it's basically a case of if you finish in front of Dino Blue, you're going to be in the first 3. So it's not impossible to think that she could do that. And she might even pinch it if it fell exactly her way and she was in good form. But I think this is more a reflection of what Dan Skelton's doing this year. He's learned from the last 2 seasons. Last year, I think he got to April and realised, I'm out of ammunition and Willie's just going to come and nab me. Whereas this year, he's being much more selective. The horses aren't running for the sake of it. You don't often see Dan Skelton winning Class 3 handicaps on a Tuesday afternoon anymore. Now it's a case of big targets, get them right. And, you know, if you said to him if you said to the owners a panic attack at the start of the season, you're going to win a Paddy Power and a Hennessy, they'd have laughed at you and thought this is unbelievable. But actually, this is really good target training. And even if she goes off the ball now, it doesn't matter. She's had an amazing season. It's a brilliant result. Whether they give her a break, I'd be half tempted in this form to go for the race at Doncaster in 4 weeks. Because those listed mares chases don't take a lot of winning. And if she's still in form, just crack on while she can. But she is a horse just to be have a little bit of caution with that. If you see signs that she's gone off the boil, and if you look at her overall record, it's a little bit patchy. So when she's not good, she's terrible. So there is just that. But right now, all the time she's good, you want to stick with her.
Apparently, the big aim is going to be the Grand National. So she's the first mare to win this since 1959. Why not have it go to the Grand National?
Yeah,
neither of you are like, no, that's crazy. That's the aim. Apparently, they want to go for the Grand National. So look, best of luck to them. Yeah, best of luck to them with her. What a winner! What a fantastic mare! What a story as well. Incredible that she's still improving at the age of 9. All right, if you got up early Sunday morning like Adam Mills did, oh, you were treated to something special. Napoleon himself conquers the world again. Royal Ascot, that was a blowout. But the Arc, Champions Day, the Breeders' Cup, and now Am I right in this? He's now the standalone trainer. He comes out of the shadow of Andre Fabre for the most successful season for a Grade 1 for a French trainer in Group and Grade 1 history in a single season. He's won more than any other French trainer before. Clandigan wins the Japan Cup. Adam Mills, your beloved Clandigan, is officially the best horse in the world.
You're damn right he is. 14 Grade 1s for Franz Henry Graffard. Absolutely buried him. I'm sure my next door neighbours loved hearing me scream, "Commit, Mickey, commit," as he came round the turn. But once he got straight, I was like, here we go. He got rolling. He was always going to get there. My God, he's a good horse. Such a good horse. Perfect piece of training this year. I mean, how did we ever get beat by Jan Bruegel? Oh, my goodness. But, we could call out the Final Furlong podcast pundits. Certain Andy Newton once referred to him as Mr. Silver Medal. Shocking behaviour. Oh, Jesus, it's only been 6 months I've been sitting on that, Andy. He hasn't annoyed me at all.
He finished second in Dubai. He'd been second to City of Troy. He'd been second to Jan Bruegel. Of course he was Mr. Silver Medal.
Barcelona won't make that mistake again. No, he's fantastic. He's going to be back next year. On we go. What a great season for Graffard. Really good ending for it. World's best racehorse. Got that Car Ying pretending out the way. We've got a proper racehorse here. Different jurisdictions, wins as he likes. He's going to have a break now, I'd imagine. I can't imagine they'll go back to Dubai. I think they'll have a break. Similar campaign. You'd have to think they're going to go back to the Japan Cup next year. Surely they think, well, we're a gelding. Let's have another go. We're beating the best the Japanese have got. Just run out of words to describe him. One of the Christmas presents for the kids. We're going to have a nice big paint. Move the kids' photos off the wall. Calandigan's going on there. Just seriously top class performance from him. And, the great thing is we've probably got another year of this next year. As long as he stays sound, God willing, it'll be a brave person who takes him on. And, can we not just change the rules just once? Don't let other geldings in the arc. Don't let other geldings in the arc. Just this one lad. Just make a rule for Calandigan,
Well, the French
Colts,
might.
Fillies and Calandigan. Yeah, exactly.
The French might just change the rules just because it would be very beneficial to them to do so.
But no, I'd like to see them campaign differently next year. So we know how good he is at Ascot. He's won a Japan Cup. Can we get a Breeders' Cup turf? Dubai's unfinished business, but whether that comes a little bit soon in the year's a little bit of a slight difficulty. But there's loads of options for him. He has shown repeatedly that he's got the speed for 10 furlongs if they need it. And when you can run over 10 or 12, that opens up so many options for him.
Yeah.
And this is I think he's 135 horse, and there's no other 135 horse. So provided Barcelona doesn't balls it up, he can't be beaten, in my view.
Well, it's really quite extraordinary that Danan Desiel beats him in Medan back in April. Has one run subsequent to that, which is a complete and spectacular blowout in the Juvenile International, which was a stupid race, a really stupid race. By the way, how did Ombudsman get on in this race?
Jesus.
Oh, that's right, he didn't run. So remember when John Gosden said, we're not going to go to the Irish Champion Stakes because we don't be taking on pacemakers, but we are going to go for the Champion Stakes, the Breeders' Cup Turf, and the Japan Cup. How did he get on in those races? Oh, yeah. Anyway, I suppose we're not supposed to talk about that. But Danan Desiel only has one more run, blowout. He finishes third, not far off Clandigan in this race. Clandigan on the back of Dubai goes to Epsom, not suited by the track. That's why Jan Bruegel beats him. Then beats Aventura, the arc runner-up in the Grand Prix de Saint-Cloud. Beats Kalpana, who would go on to win the Filly Mare race again at Ascot. Thrashes Ombudsman. Thrashes him, puts him in his place. And now goes to Japan and wins a race that is notoriously difficult for European horses to win. I mean, he's an incredible racehorse, and Francois-Henri Gaffard, Jamie Wrenn, is an absolute genius.
Yeah, I thought he'd have a go at me. I thought Adam Mills would have a go at me, saying I would question him after Young Bruegel race, and all I got was, oh, Mr. Wrenn. Don't be like that. But no, he's very good. I was roaring him at the screen, and I was going to text Adam Mills at 5:30 in the morning, but he'd probably say, who's this creep texting me at 5:30 in the morning? So I said I didn't bother. And I'd love to be actually the hidden camera in Adam Mills' household and see what he was like when Clandigan was trying to go past. Will you go past Mikael? I won't call him Mickey. because that sure sounds pure Irish. Run, Mickey, boy. But no, he's very good. I've done a total U-turn on him because I was kind of like, I'm not gonna lie. I was like Andy Newton. I thought he was Mr. Silver Penny, whatever you want to call him. But no, he's the best horse in the world now. Emmet, all jokes aside, and yeah, it's great. You're going to see him next year, and they should bend the rule. Get rid of all this cold Billy Mayor nonsense and let geldings run in the air and up the prize money if they want to. It's worth a lot of money anyway, but up and even more geldings are allowed in. So look, he'd win the arc with his mouth open as well. Like so look, it's great to see him. I presume it's Maidan next again. So yeah, I can't wait to see him again. He's a very good horse. He shocked me really because, as I said, Mr. Silver, whatever. But no, he's really good. Yeah, best I've seen for a long time.
He's a spectacular horse. He's just a joy to watch. I love the fact that he's a gelding. Rebels Romance. We get to keep seeing him. We get to keep seeing this fella come back from it. We've enough stallions. We have enough of them. We need more racehorses. So Clandigan coming back as a 5-year-old is very, very exciting. What was the 1xBet performance of the week for the boys? What was the performance of the week for Adam Mills? I have a funny feeling I know.
Well, no, we're in the jump season. I won't shoehorn Clandigan in. Imagine if he ran in the champion early limit. Oh, you'd have to back it. Performance of the week.
Well, we lead. Don't have step man. Constitute.
I'm going to go a bit left field. I'm not going to give you I thought the jumps performances were nice, but they were all underwhelming in different ways. But I've seen two horses that were eye-catching in the last 10 days or so. The first is I think I know what wins the Boodles. And it's a horse of Gavin Cromwell's called Olé Olé. It's not called the Boodles anymore. It's called the Fred Winter Wine something or other. But there's a horse at Gavin Cromwell's yard called Olé Olé. I think he would have won at Punchestown if they'd wanted him to win at Punchestown. And I'll leave it at that. We know how you Irish fellas feel about getting a juvenile hurdler handicapped. I think he's worth watching. One more run, he'll be qualified. And the other one is a horse called Pagan, who won for the second time over fences this season. Really good performance at Market Race. And you have to take a little bit of a pinch of salt with it because Marsh Wrenn didn't run a race. The second Mini Mum is a nice horse, but she's in the mid-120s. But Pagan absolutely bolted up, and she's done that twice this season. She looks like she's really taken nicely the fences this time around. She's on a roll. Now, look, you could. So I was thinking about the Mayor's Chase because she's kind of 12, 14 to 1, and because she's trained by Faye Bramley, she's a bigger price than she maybe should be. But I don't think she'll win the Mayor's Chase. But what she will do is mop up. There's a really good listed program for mares. There's the race at Doncaster. There's another one at Leicester. I think there's also another one at Exeter. You could see her running up a sequence of 4 or 5. Whether she's then good enough to take the step up at Cheltenham, I'm not sure. But she is really, really talented over fences. Has really taken a step forward this season. And it's worth going back and watching her Market Raise and win because from about halfway, Harry Cobden was trying to hold on to her. She was going so well. And he could have won by 20 lengths if he'd wanted to.
Speaking of Gavin Cromwell watch. It's now 63 runs and 1 win for Gavin Cromwell. 22 days and 86 runners since his last win over jumps. So mark up the passing wife even more. Because that's a 3-mile point-to-pointer who stayed on to be an eye-catching third in the Royal Bond in what was the worst running of that race for quite some time. But that's a horse who will be winning when stepped up and trip. All right, Jamie Wrenn, your 1xBet performance of the week.
I can't say there's an outstanding performance of the week, bar Clandigan, obviously. But like there was 3, like I'm going to do the same as Adam. There's 3 kind of stood out for me. 2 are within the same ownership. They're removed out of Paul Nicholls to Nicky Henderson, and I'm going back to this day last week. There was a horse that beat Anson Levy in a novice hurdle at Kempton called Old Park Star. I just liked the way he finished his race. He came to win the race, and then he went again to beat up. The form might not be spectacular, but he couldn't up in that 2-mile novice hurdle maybe on Stephen's Day at Kempton, the first race that day. But then Age of Innocence went along and won last Friday and beat Centaur of Skeltons. There are 2 horses to follow, I think, in novice hurdles in Britain anyway. They look good on the eye. Now, I just like the way that Old Park Star won last week at Kempton. And next day he runs, I'll be backing him. Age of Innocence is another one, and the Jamie Snowden mare, La Conquier, who won the mare's race in Newbury there the weekend. She's definitely one to take for going forward. Look, there's obviously a lot of horses come out of the woodwork in the mare's novice division, but that mare's novice I think is absolute tripe in my opinion. It's tripe, like it's an awful race, like it's terrible. So the Conquier,
I was going to. You should take that. I don't want to. I actually agree. I can't do it.
But La Conquier, one of you talks at her at pains to get up, and it's just the way it went through the line. It was the same at Newbury the weekend. Then just people go watch it back, and no matter what people say, that 2 mile novice race is on a new track. It's a stamina laden race. Look at the way Aaron Titan took forever to beat 6.5. Who I think broke 6.5's heart that day, and I think that horse will never be the same again. But that's just me. But yeah, she's definitely one to look forward to, La Conquier. I was just impressed the way she just finishes out her races. When she looks in trouble, she just goes again. And I like that in horses. So they're 3 to follow. That's just me at the moment.
Okay. Can I ask you both to do me a favor? Can you keep talking trash about Romeo Coolio? Keep saying he's overrated. Keep saying that wasn't a great performance. Keep saying it's nonsense. If you agree with them, keep saying, say it in the YouTube comment section. Say it all over social media. Bigger price for us. Better odds for us when he comes along and smashes him up in the Faheen. That was the performance of the week. Romeo Coolio announced himself. That was a super performance. And that's a horse who's going to be winning Grade 1s over fence. I don't doubt it for a second. Kind of wanted to give it to Teahupoo, but it's all about Romeo Coolio. All right, that's it. This episode brought to you by 1xBet. More than 7,000 betting markets for you to get stuck into every single day in Ireland. The new bookmaker shaking things up in Ireland. Fast withdrawals, loads of new customer sign-up offers for you. The link is in the episode description. Just scroll down there. It'll take you right to the 1xBet website in Ireland. Terms and conditions apply. 18+. Gamble responsibly. Your game, your odds, your 1xBet. That is it from this episode of the Final Furlong podcast. We're back with you on Thursday. In fact, we're back before that. We got a special with Gavin Lynch coming your way this week. And then the weekend preview comes your way as well. So hopefully we'll have a lot of fun. Please God, there'll be more winners to be found as well on Thursday's show. From Adam Mills, Jamie Wrenn, and me, Emmet Kennedy. Smash a like on this episode if you haven't already. W's in the chat for the two boys. Stellar stuff from them as always. Lizzie Kelly and Daryl Jacob will be back with you next week. They're at a very posh lunch this week, enjoying caviar, fine wine, top champagne. Adam Mills could have been there, and he was like, no, I'm doing the podcast. Screw that stuff. So that's a man of dedication, as opposed to the two who are enjoying the gravy train. Hey, they might as well, because who knows what's going on in the world of racing anymore. From Adam, Jamie, and me, we'll talk to you again very, very soon in the Final Furlong podcast. Look after yourself and each other. God bless.
Thanks for spending some time with us on the Final Furlong podcast. We're independent media, so if you like what we do, hit like, share, and subscribe. It's free, it's quick, and it genuinely helps. And if you enjoyed this episode, there's plenty more where that came from. Don't miss out. Subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major platforms, and join us on the gravy train. The Final Furlong podcast. Independent, unfiltered, and powered by you.